It is frequent that we are finding our way on any given day, really. Good morning. My name is Reverend Jamie Boyce. My pronouns are she, her, and I have the great privilege of serving this congregation as its interim minister. Thank you for joining us today in person and online. If you are joining us for the first, second, third, or even 10th time, I welcome you to stop by our welcome table and get connected to us and learn more about who we are. And if you're joining online and you'd like to learn more about us, you can reach out to info@uuhamilton.ca, and somebody from our team will get back to you. We gather this morning to welcome each other into a time of gentle belonging, a time to reconnect with our longing for community and the urgency to call forth a radical, rooted belonging for all people and the earth. Welcome to this place of love and care. Welcome to a place where we meet each other and come alive in community. And as we prepare to sing our first hymn, I invite you in the spirit of belonging to turn to a neighbor and welcome your neighbor, perhaps with the gentle gesture of a hand on a heart. But let's acknowledge each other this morning and acknowledge gratitude for this time to be together. As you feel called, I invite you to rise and sing our first hymn, 1053, How Could Anyone? And the words will be on the screen behind me, or in the teal hymnal if you picked one up on your way in. And if you're joining online, they will appear on the screen before you.
Josh, you were going to come in. Oh. Okay, that's good. Thanks. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? Deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
Good morning. Given that we're talking about vulnerability today, I'm reading a story about naked mole rats because we're probably most vulnerable when we're naked, I would say. And it's called Naked Mole Rat Gets Dressed by Mo Willems. There is so much to learn about the fascinating little creatures known as naked mole rats. But for this story, you only need to know 3 things. 1, they're a little bit rat. 2, they're a little bit mole. 3, they're all naked. Well, they were, with one exception. Wilbur, the naked mole rat who liked to get dressed. Hello. When the other naked mole rats saw him, they said, "Ew! Yuck! What are you doing?" "I like clothes," replied Wilbur. "When I get dressed, I can be fancy, or funny, or cool, or I can just be an astronaut." When the others heard that, they said, "Ew, yuck! If you like clothes so much, then why don't you open a store or something?" Naked mole rats can be very sarcastic. But Wilbur thought that was a great idea. The other naked mole rats did not. They brought Wilbur to a giant portrait of Grandpa, the oldest, greatest, and most naked mole rat ever. "Look at that picture," they demanded. "Look at his heroic face. Look at his regal bearing. Look at his total lack of clothing." Grandpa did look heroic. Grandpa did look regal. But he would also look heroic and regal in a casual shirt and some summer slacks. "Ugh," said the other naked mole rats. "Don't you get it? Naked mole rats don't wear clothes." "Why not?" asked Wilbur. Something had to be done. The naked mole rats marched right over to Grandpa and told him all about Wilbur. And then he asked why not. Grandpa was very wise. He thought seriously about everything he had heard. And then he thought some more. Finally, he said in an heroic, regal voice, "Gather the colony. I shall make a proclamation." A proclamation, a proclamation, a proclamation. When Wilbur heard about Grandpa's proclamation, he knew it was serious. But he had no idea what to wear. So in the end, Wilbur decided to play it safe. But maybe not safe enough. The others were so busy looking at Wilbur's socks that no one noticed Grandpa enter until he cleared his throat and proclaimed, "Fellow naked mole rats, I had never worn clothes until I heard Wilbur's simple question, why not? Why not indeed? Do clothes hurt anyone? No. Are they fun? Well, they may not be for everyone, but this old naked mole rat wishes he had tried getting dressed earlier." And then Grandpa complimented Wilbur on his socks. As fast as his legs could take him, Wilbur rushed home, put on his favorite outfit, and dashed back. When he returned, Wilbur discovered he was not alone. Much has been said about that day, but for this story, you only need to know 3 things. Some of the mole rats were naked. Some of the mole rats were clothed. All of the mole rats had a great time. And that's the end of our story. Today in CYRE, we are going to be looking at our principles and trying to decide what kind of language we're going to use to add the 8th to the children's principles. And we're also going to be doing a covenant and redesigning, making new name tags. So busy morning for us back there, and we will be sung out. If people want to gather at the door with Nicola and Maius and Petra, and we will exit to Fellowship Hall.
In peace, know our love is with you always, as you go, as you go.
Now is the time in our service when we celebrate and grieve in the comfort of caring communities, supporting each other through both our struggles and our victories. Today is a very special day for joys and sorrows as we welcome the return of our candle lighting ritual and ceremony. This is the first time I am participating in this ritual with you. It has not come back to the sanctuary since before COVID. So we welcome this ritual of care, this ritual of reflection, this ritual that holds us in belonging back to this holy place today. Following the meditation words, we'll join in a time of silence. And during our musical meditation, you're invited to come forward as you feel called and light a candle. Our meditation reading this morning is from Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh, an excerpt from his book, At Home in the World, a collection of essays reflecting on his long and marvelous life. This reading is taken from a reflection called Belonging. He writes, "We all have a fundamental need to belong, to feel safe, alive, and welcome. We can transform our own family or household into such a place where this is possible. Together we can practice breathing and smiling, sitting together, drinking tea together in mindfulness. If we have a bell, the bell is also a part of the community, because the bell helps us practice calling us back to ourselves, to the present moment. If we have a meditation cushion, the cushion is also part of the community. There are many things that help us practice mindfulness, even the air for breathing. If we live near a park or a riverbank, we can enjoy walking meditation there, and the park or the river becomes part of our community. We need to establish community at home. From time to time, we can invite a friend to join us. We need to expand our definition of family to include not only our friends and community, but also the sun, the sky, the trees, the birds, and the hills around us. Practicing mindfulness is much easier when we do it together. Let us rest in a time of mindful breathing and smiling. Drop into a quiet place. May there be peace in our hearts and peace in the world. I invite you to come forward as you feel called for the lighting of the candles. We have a joy to celebrate this morning from Joanne Tunnicliffe. She shares that Alan and Joanne Tunnicliffe married September 6, 1969, now together for 53 magnificent years. She shares that the secret to a long marriage is finding something you both like to do together. And our beloved Unitarian Church is one of the things we find lots of time for, and we are indeed grateful for your dedication and joining us in community here. So thank you. Thank you for that joy. We know that there are sorrows flowing among us that are too tender yet to share, hidden inside our hearts, waiting for the right time and the right place. We light this candle, acknowledging all those sorrows moving among us and through us that are seeking their voice. And we celebrate the joys among us that are flowing through and with us as well. And we celebrate those joys together too. This ritual is beautiful. It's so good to have it back. That is my joy today. I invite Doreen to come and share our reading and the offering.
The readings. I have from two sources. First from Brene Brown's newest book, Atlas of the Heart, the chapter on belonging, and then from a celebration of scribes, an anthology, which is writers from our congregation. A short essay by Marilyn Waters, a beloved member of our congregation who passed on recently. Brene Brown writes, "True belonging is the spiritual practice of believing in and belonging to yourself, so deeply that you can share your most authentic self with the world and find sacredness in both being part of something and standing alone in the wilderness. True belonging doesn't require you to change who you are. It requires you to be who you are." And as one child wrote on his poster during a workshop with Brene, belonging is being somewhere where you want to be and they want you. Fitting in is being somewhere you want to be, but they don't care one way or another. So be here, be you, and belong. And then from Marilyn Waters, it's titled Eden, UU Style. And I will say it's before our the garden transformation to a Carolinian garden. Today, the Writers Circle, planned to write in the garden behind our church. I was reluctant to go outside, fearing the chill and discomfort of this early May morning. Now, I'm here. I'm so grateful that I came. Truck, car, bus, and train sounds fade as I settle in the pergola to write. This garden, created and loved by many members, is delightful. I have almost half an hour to absorb the beauty. Forget-me-nots scatter their blue color through flower beds. Bright orange and yellow tulips bring sunshine after a dark winter. And very definite yellow daffodils stand up straight. Dandelions are sprinkled in the green grass so casually. Nearby, trickling water splashes over a unique fountain, incredibly made from 3 large concrete sewer pipes. Several trees have been planted in memory of members who have passed on. who have passed on. Fluffy white clouds float slowly by in the bright blue sky. Oh, such warmth, such comfort, such beauty, such peace. Now we will receive our offering the offering that we accept each Sunday is an opportunity to recommit ourselves to this community and to our relationship with one another. When we give, we say yes to something that we value. With gifts freely given, may we say yes to the values of our faith. That'd be Elizabeth and Barb. Yeah. Thank you. Your gifts in support of our ministries to one another and to the community are appreciated. Thank you.
So I think you've figured out that our theme this month is belonging, and that we're going to spend some time. We started talking about it last Sunday in gathering and talking about how we come together and the ritual, the water ritual of bringing our separate lives together into this special place. And as I was thinking about this over this past week, I thought I'm going to start my talk today in a little different way. And I wonder if you'll join me in taking a little unexpected turn here. This is an invitation to drop into our bodies and into our memories, and to visit a moment in our own lives where we felt like we truly belonged. So I want to take us into a moment in a little bit of a guided meditation. And this is completely optional. So if you prefer just to wait it out, we're not going to be here long, that's cool too. The invitation. Let's close our eyes. If that feels good, you can maybe just lower your gaze if that feels right. Drop into your breath a little bit. Feel the rise and fall of your tummy. Perhaps rest a hand at the place where you feel your breath, or hold your hands in a cup or a bowl shape in front of you. And in this quiet moment, I invite you to imagine a time, a place or a moment where you felt like you truly belonged to something or some place. Perhaps a group of friends, perhaps in the companionship of a garden, perhaps in the company of an animal friend, perhaps with family or at a community event. Maybe you discover belonging inside your own body, inside your own breath. Whatever you find there, dwell there for a moment. Notice how it feels to belong. Notice how your heart opened. Notice if there was joy. Notice if there was sadness. But notice it. Now, with that feeling, I invite you to offer that in the spirit of the meditation of loving kindness, to offer it to the world, to invite it to flow outward and move through our community. This feeling of being accepted, of being loved, of feeling welcomed, perhaps imperfectly. And also notice if, like many people, it's fleeting, that feeling of belonging might slip away, never feeling quite near enough. And acknowledge that human need to belong for all of us. And as we open our eyes and return to this place, let's give ourselves a hug. Let's give ourselves a hug. And acknowledge the possibilities of belonging that are with us today. Irish philosopher and poet John O'Donohue writes in his book, Eternal Echoes, exploring our hunger to belong, that the hunger to belong is at the heart of our nature. Cut off from others, we atrophy and turn in on ourselves. The sense of belonging is the natural balance of our lives. Mostly, we do not need to make an issue of belonging. When we belong, we take it for granted. There is some innocent, childlike side to the human heart that is always deeply hurt when we are excluded. Belonging suggests warmth, understanding, and embrace. No one was created for isolation. I've been clinging to the poetry of this passage for the last few weeks, ruminating on the human hunger to belong, to be known, loved, and appreciated, forgiven, connected to ourselves, community, and the wider matrix of life. The insight that without belonging, human beings settle into a state of atrophy and disconnection, living in existential exile from the heart of who we are and who we are meant to be, is a powerful and true and maybe a little obvious. And that said, we don't really talk about it that much. The heart of belonging, even as we strive with all our actions in the name of love and justice. O'Donoghue's insight is a prompt to consider some bigger questions about this human hunger for belonging and the pain of exclusion and alienation when belonging is disrupted. I wonder about the distance between the appetite to belong and the actual presence of belonging in people's lives. For many people, belonging is absent and unavailable. Belonging is undermined, disrupted, or uncertain. As in our song this morning, will you still love me tomorrow? The hunger to belong is never quite satiated, and there is a soul starving that can take hold. Reverend Angel Kyoto Williams, a Black queer Zen Buddhist sensei and practitioner of liberation, shares that, and I paraphrase from an interview, that belonging is creating communities where people feel loved and cared for in the fullness of who they are and all they bring. For Reverend Angel, belonging is both an inside job, rooted in a meditation practice, and an outside job of creating communities that have space for the fullness of a person. In a Unitarian Universalist frame, we might say that belonging is to live the spiritual truth of our interdependence boldly and relentlessly. Reverend Angel goes on to share that true community is that you have a feeling in the presence of others. You don't have to leave a part of yourself at the door for membership. Spaces where we are accepted in the wholeness of who we are, and there is no request to leave a part of ourselves behind. Belonging is complicated. Reverend Angel again guides us towards a truth about belonging that we must wrestle with, notice, and feel in our hearts. She shares, white supremacy, settler culture, and racialized capitalism threaten belonging at every turn by dislocating people from their families, land, history, and bodies. Let me say that again. White supremacy, settler culture, and racialized capitalism weaponizes belonging in our world, and the basic human need to belong to a community is withheld, patrolled, and manipulated, keeping people, especially people with historically marginalized identities, from accessing spaces and places of deep belonging. That hits me hard. That hits hard. And it's true here too. Turning our gaze inward at our own community, we know that we have a responsibility and much work to do individually and collectively to become a place of belonging where people can truly arrive at this holy place and not feel they have to leave a part of themselves at the door. Black activist, philosopher, and scholar of belonging, Adrienne Marie Brown, describes the relationship between community and belonging as this. Community is a place to practice and participate in care, attention, knowing and being known, being protected, having room to make mistakes and still belong, not just allowed to be there, but to be valuable, to heal, to recover. Community feels responsible for each other. Community is a choice. More precisely, community is an accumulation of choices made every day, a set of growing practices. Can we notice that with clarity? This accumulation of choices and set of growing practices. Can we see ourselves becoming a place of belonging? Can we see our choices changing the world as we know it? There is vulnerability in these practices and choices, a vulnerability to grow and learn new ways of being together, new ways of being with our inner world, and new ways of being in community, both here inside this sacred place, but new ways of being in the world. And this brings us into our full individual and collective commitment to the eighth principle. And noticing it as a commitment to radical belonging. And as Unitarian Universalists, we can say that belonging is an antidote to disconnection, suffering, and injustice as it undermines domination in our world. That in the work of dismantling white supremacy and other oppressions in ourselves and our communities, what is available is a place of radical, restorative, magnificent belonging. Doesn't this sound grand? Doesn't it inspire the transformation we seek and invite us not just to relate intellectually to change, but lovingly, carefully, and mindfully as we relate to each other and the great, majestic web of life of which each of us is a part? We have before us the possibility of bringing a place of radical, rooted belonging. May we be bold in our love and commitment to belong. May we be bold in our commitment to justice in the world of belonging we claim. Please rise as you feel called for our final hymn, 354. We'll sing verses 1 and 4 together today.
Die, we dance, we sing our song. We need to feel there's something here to which we can belong. We need to feel the freedom just to have some time alone. But most of all, we need close friends we can call our very own. And we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a need to be together. We have our hearts to give, we have our thoughts to receive, and we believe that sharing is an answer. We seek elusive answers to the questions of this life. We seek to put an end to all the waste of human life. We search for truth, equality, and blessed peace of mind. And then we come together here, the sense of what we find. And we believe in a life and in the strength of love. And we have found a joy being together. And in our search for peace, may we be finally see, even to question truly is an answer.
Go, go, beloveds, tending to the heart of your belonging to yourself and to the world. You are beautifully and magnificently made, and together we can create a community of belonging and justice that we desperately desire. Go in peace, beacons of belonging in the world. We extinguish our chalice, but not the fire in our hearts until we meet again.
All I have and all I am is all because of you. All I reap and all I sow, and love is our living proof. Thank you for life. Thank you for everything. I stand here in grace and gratitude, and I thank you. Seasons come and seasons go, and no matter what we choose, 1,000 names, 1,000 roads, all lead to one simple truth. Thank you for life. Thank you for everything. I stand here in grace and gratitude, and I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you.